Hola a todos, soy la abogada Alejandra Campos de Campos Law Firm. El día de hoy estamos con un invitado muy especial que es el abogado Jonathan Bell, es nuestro jefe del Departamento de Removal. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. I was mentioning that you are the head of the Department for Removal, and we wanted to talk to you and see you go to court every single day. I was talking to you outside of the camera saying, what would be your advice to the people that are looking, that are checking, they don't have a status? What would be the recommendation for everybody?
My number one recommendation would be to be proactive about where you're at in terms of your immigration status. Right now, under the current administration, USCIS and the Immigration Court are not expediting things, meaning things are not moving quickly. It's important for you to contact a lawyer to get an understanding of where your case is at and what the possible forms of relief you can have. Why this is important is that right now, time is of the essence to get things filed, to get applications going, and it's important to not wait until it's too late to submit something that you may be eligible for.
That's true, and that's exactly what we were talking, and it's just like, our consultations are free, and you can call us, we schedule an appointment, we look at your case. There are many people that could actually have applied for a kind of visa, for a form of relief, but when they contact us, they are already in detention. And exactly what you're saying is happening. Immigration is not expediting the process. The judges, they say, this is going to take 35 months. And because they are not going to wait, then they start the deportation process, right? And after that you are in that system, it's very hard to get out. And we were just talking about that, how the new current administration is not giving you a bond if you enter if you enter without a visa. Therefore, then we need to apply for a habeas. But after habeas, then we need to go back and request a bond hearing. And the amounts that they are giving on the bond hearings are very expensive. That is something that you could have avoided if you would have been already in a process, because they probably would have not detained you. And that's what we are trying to avoid, because after you go into detention, everything gets complicated.
Absolutely. I work with detained clients every day, and I can tell you that when you are detained, it makes the process much, much more difficult. And quite honestly, it limits some forms of relief that you may have been eligible for before you were detained, which is why it's so important to be proactive and start the process before anything bad happens. And like you're saying, right now, once people are detained, it's very, very difficult, not impossible, but very, very difficult, and takes time and effort in order to get people out.
Yes, we have a case of a client that he could qualify easily for a family petition, right? He was married to an American citizen. He came when he was 5 years old. He had a U visa that he never paid attention. He never followed up. He never, he could have received already the approval of the U visa because it was sent more like 7 years ago, right? But he never did something. And then one day, what happened? How is that he got detained? I think it's because he had some traffic tickets, some criminal charges, something unexpected happened. And boom, after his criminal court, boom, ICE went and picked him up. He's been in detention. We have been fighting to try to get him out. We request a bond. The bond was approved, but then they appeal, right? The government appeal, and that we have been waiting. But all of this could have been avoided if he would he actually was married to an American citizen. If he would actually had submit his family petition, right? And if he would have called his prior lawyer and follow up with his U visa, he could easily have avoided all this nightmare, because it's not just a nightmare for him, it's a nightmare for his whole family. He has kids, he had a wife that wasn't working before, now they need to come up with all this money. pay a lawyer. It's a lot of stress, something that could have been avoided. And like that case, we had several ones, right? Where we sit down and we meet them. When you go to court, I imagine to the detention center, you're like, why are you here, right?
Yes, it's been a very common and consistent theme that I've been seeing, especially over the last few months, that many of my clients could have been in a different situation prior to their detention. And I had one recent case where I went with the client to an ICE check-in, and fortunately, we were able to bring the paperwork that showed that he has available relief, and we were able to talk to ICE and let them know we are pursuing this. But if he wouldn't have had that paperwork and for us to be there to explain that, he had just missed some deadlines, and he potentially could have been detained.
Yes, totally agree.
And the reality is immigration law can be complicated, but more importantly, there are deadlines. And these deadlines, if you miss them, can cancel your entire application that you may have been working on for months. And why it's so valuable to have a law firm is we keep track of those deadlines, right? And we make sure that if something is due, that it's submitted prior to that. And our firm, one thing that I take a lot of pride in is our team is dedicated to understanding where each of our clients are at, what the deadlines are for their cases, and making sure that we submit everything on time. Because you don't want to miss a deadline and then your application, which you're viable for, is canceled, and then you go in for a nice check-in, and
that's it.
And that's it. And the reality is right now it's a very hard time, and people can get detained anywhere at any time. And so it's so important to be proactive.
I know one of the things that we had noticed is that these clients, I think they don't understand that it right now it's very difficult times, and they have been living in this country for a long time, and they are going and reporting themselves to ICE for several years, and nothing happened to them. And they actually think, well, this is another check visit. I'm fine. I already went last year or the year before. I should not be afraid. What they don't understand is that these are different times right now. And ICE is being more rigorous and more strict. And just because you have been here and you have been lucky because they let you be here without any rigorous check doesn't mean that it is right now. So that client, for example, right, I think they mentioned you, if he doesn't apply for a relief within a year, next time he will be out. And he's been here 25 years. Just to give you an example, we are talking about people that consider already this country their home. They had a family, they grew up, they already feel that they belong to the United States. However, the system is rigorous, right? And I see that a lot also with people that hold DACA. Because they grew up in this country, they came as kids. They don't know any other country. And what they don't know is that, well, they know. It's just that they don't know how difficult it is right now, that if they get in trouble with the law, any criminal charge will make them ineligible for the DACA. And remember that DACA is just a temporary relief, right? It's not a permanent status. It doesn't give you to a resident status. So I encourage everybody to actually, if you are a DACA recipient, to actually contact us, contact an immigration lawyer to see if there is another way for you to adjust status in this country, because you don't want to live with that uncertainty. What is going to happen tomorrow? I had a mother calling me yesterday, and she's like, I'm so afraid because my son has a DACA, and then he's already trying to transfer properties under my name, so to the mother, right? And he's trying to put me in his bank account like he's ready to go. I'm like, well, and then I was talking to the mother, and he actually was a victim of a crime 20 years ago. And I said, why don't we do a U visa? And through that, in 5 years, he will get papers, but the most important part is that he will have something in process. We are talking about a man that already have kids that are American citizens. We are talking about a man that created his own business. He's very successful. He had a girlfriend that is an American citizen. I mean, going on and on, he probably could qualify for a BAGWA or something, right? But they don't know, and they think, oh, I'm, if they remove my DACA, what is going to happen? Well, let's be proactive, like the attorney Jonathan said, and let's start finding a way for you to get status in this country, because you should not wait any longer, especially with this situation. And the other thing is that we don't know when this type of visas are going to stop. What happens if tomorrow they say no more U visas? The ones that are in process will probably get processed, but if you didn't submit something, there is no excuse to wait 20 years for you to submit a U visa. There is no excuse for you if you are married or you live in a common law with an American citizen not to submit a family petition or a BAGWA if things didn't work out. There is no excuse for you to live with this uncertainty. I understand there are some clients that only came 2 years ago. That's a different story. But what we are seeing is that immigration is not thinking who came 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or who came 25 years ago. They are treating them the same, right? And they are putting you in the deportation process, and after that, it is very difficult. I'm not going to say it's too late, but it's more complicated, and you're going to spend more money and more stress than the one that you should.
Yes, the one thing I'm stressing right now to all clients that I meet with is urgency, that this administration is not respecting old rules. It's not respecting temporary protections. You need to have some sort of pathway and goal for more permanent relief. That is what's critical right now, because as you said, they aren't respecting people who have been here a long time or viewing them differently.
Yes.
They're treating people all the same.
Unfortunately.
It's very unfortunate.
Yes.
And it's not right, but it's the reality.
Yes.
And like you said, you don't want to wait until it's too late and you get detained, because it doesn't mean your immigration case is over. It just means it's very difficult, much more difficult, and will be cost time.
And a lot of stress for you and your family, because we see it daily. We deal with the person that is in detention. We see it with the family members, brothers, sisters, parents are calling, wives are calling, and there is not much that we can do. When you guys are in the system, we just need to wait until the next court hearing. We need to talk to you about very difficult decisions, like maybe voluntary departure, things that you could have avoided, right? Especially if you had been doing things ahead of time.
Exactly. Like, we don't want to get to that point where we're having those very difficult conversations in detention. It's much better and much more pleasant to have a conversation here in the office about what relief we can find for you.
Yes, and it's very nice if we submit a relief and we can give you the good news that your work permit arrived, that your visa arrived, that you are a good resident now with a So let's try to start giving you good news. And for that, we need you to be at the office and not in the detention center. Thank you, Jonathan, for this meeting. I think it's very useful. People need to hear. One last topic that we were talking today is that TPS, I just heard that TPS was canceled for another country today, for Yemen. And we go back again to this temporary relief. TPS is like DACA. Those are temporary relief that can be removed at any moment. So we encourage you to actually think ahead, start calling an immigration lawyer, and really get your residency and benefit for the wonderful things that this country has. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for this meeting. Thank you.